2024 is here and we have our first video. Welcome. Today is going to be a review episode. So this is something we're going to see a lot more of this year. If you don't know, my name is Benny Rose. My buddy in crime, Mr. Tyler Nethers. We're here with a very special review, a little delayed. We apologize, but we are pressed for time. But we wanted to make sure we put the time in for this review. We want to thank you to the teams that sent it out to us. This is a formal review for Arizona Sunshine 2 for the PSVR 2. So before
it's a lot of twos in there.
There's a lot of twos, right? There's a lot of sequels, the sequel hardware and sequel game, and it's a co-op game. And we both got the pleasure to play it, and we just want to formally talk about it. So we'll get started shortly, right after our little intro. So yeah, we'll funny enough how we're coming back to PSVR 2. When we first started the reboot in early March of last year, we kind of put a big focus on we were going to do some PSVR 2 content. I went and bought the equipment. You went and bought the equipment when you weren't originally going to. And then life set in. You know, we realized how difficult it is to put time into doing VR as parents and stuff like that. So
with the kids and the dogs, I mean, it's got to be like you can find an hour in the day somewhere that you can be like, okay, I can literally shut the whole world out. But it's not the easiest thing to do. So
yeah, and full disclosure, it's something that we want to spend more time with. It's just finding those moments
and finding good games to co-op. So I mean, obviously we get time playing stuff on our own, but being able to do a co-op game is much harder.
Agreed. And we always tend to find technical difficulties with you and I when it comes to exclusively it was PSVR for a while. But we finally got through that, and we'll talk about our experiences with it. But before we do that, I wanted to do something that I did with my previous interview with the director of Cookie Cutter, which is for those that are not familiar that might be interested in this game, we'll show you the official trailer and then we'll talk about it.
Great.
This is really nice. Just two regular guys hanging out, except one of the guys is a dog. Who is a good boy? Hey there. Nice to meet you, little guy. Want to be friends?
We can solve this problem once and for all.
They're trying to make a vaccine. You want to come? Good dog, buddy! I figure if we find patient zero, then the military are gonna come find us. Down here, god damn it! You know it's wild, buddy. Every person I meet wants to rip my head off and eat my brains. Every single person, hundreds of them. Shit, that's a whole lot of friends. And that's all because of patient zero. Dang, that's nasty. A smart person wouldn't break that glass. But buddy, that's just not me. Hey, buddy. Bark twice if you know how to fly a 737. Nothing to see here. We gotta team up here, buddy. I just want one human being, Fred! Just one! Bring it on! Toilet gun. Yeah.
He's like a modern VR version of Duke Nukem, if you
kind of, yeah.
You know, not as vulgar, but he definitely curses. So that's the idea of the game. You do have a story mode, you have a co-op mode where you can actually do the story together, which is really
Yeah.
cool. And then you have like a horde mode, which is kind of you're in a certain little area and you're kind of restricted to that, and you get the waves of the zombies coming in, and in between you get to reload and things like that. So we got the time to spend with both. So
Yeah.
we'll speak a little bit about each. So I would say before we go into the story side, let's talk a little bit about the horde mode.
Yeah, and that's what we did first, is we hopped in horde mode just to kind of see what was up. And dude, pretty fucking fun. We've done a couple VR and non-VR style, like horde style games. And I'll tell you what, especially in the VR ones, Arizona Sunshine 2, definitely cream of the crop there.
Absolutely. The one thing I'll always say that I struggle with these VR games, as we talk a lot about offline, is being a bigger guy and having the ability of everything being at the waist side of the holster and stuff like that doesn't always work in my favor. So I tend to like constantly be punching myself in the stomach, trying to grab a clip, and it makes it a little bit of a challenge because I'm sitting.
It's a
I'm
magazine.
sorry?
It's a magazine. It's not a clip. Don't call it a clip. I'm about to come drive to New Jersey and punch you in the stomach too.
So what's a clip?
Clips are like if you have a stripper clip for like an M1 Garand and you slide the ammo out of the clip and the clip pings off. That's a clip. A clip is a clip. Everything else is a magazine.
Shut up.
Nah, that's serious.
Well, I'm not a gun aficionado.
I know. That's why I'm helping you. I'm
Well,
helping
you're
you.
threatening me at the same time.
Well, I mean, that's,
You're taking it personal. I know.
Yeah, low column A, low column B.
I mean, like, when I think clip, I think Resident Evil and the clips on the screen. So yeah, I guess I associate that. My apologies. Magazines.
Yep.
The ammunition that
There you
I
go.
need to get my gun working
Yeah.
almost never works well because I can't get it out of my fat stomach. So that's always been my struggle, because I like the idea of the realism of having to grab it, having to take the the empty one out and then filling it and then cocking the gun. I think that works well. But when you get into those moments where I was struggling, and
I did.
it's tough. But that's me. That's not the game itself. I think that it's efficient, and if you get good at it, it's a lot of fun. There's moments of there's a lot of canisters that you can kind of open and containers that have a lot of different things you can get. You could pick up food for shits and giggles and like eat it and just have fun with it, which is really cool. But I like the accuracy. That's the one thing I'll say, of like like I could sit there even in VR, like one eye, and it was working the way it should, and I didn't need to do any unique calibrations, which I feel like you have to do in a lot of games like that in the past. So, I commend the developers, Vertigo, for doing that, because it helps make the game feel a little more immersive, if you will, even though we're like in this super crazy fantasy world of, all these Freds.
Right, all these Freds.
But yeah, so the horde mode, it's exactly what you think. It's the zombies kind of coming and lasting until you die. And it was always me dying first. I'd be on the floor and I just see Tyler going back and forth, doing his thing, like just slaying. And then eventually, we get to a hard part. But I would say that's not a mode for me, but it's great for co-op. I think, is it 4? Can it do up to 4 in VR with that mode? I believe.
I'm not positive. Because we only ever played with the 2 of us. I want to say yes. I want to say you can have 4 people. Because we've got 4 cases scattered around with the extra ammo and where the guns pop up. And I think you could get a handle on horde mode if you got your legs under you a little more, like got a little more used to the way Arizona Sunshine works.
Getting tape around my stomach and
something get into a girdle.
Just losing weight. That's
you could lose weight.
Yeah. So hey, you know what? Maybe I'll play this game more and start trying to
do a little exercising.
Zombie fit.
A buddy of mine lost like 30 pounds doing Beat Saber. He was doing Beat Saber and pistol whip for exercise and lost like 30 pounds. That was his sole exercise. And he adjusted his diet too, obviously.
Of course.
Adjusted the diet, but then made VR the only source of exercise and lost a good bit of weight. So
that's awesome. It's a great way to look at it. And my problem is the next segment we'll talk about. which will tie into it, is, I unfortunately don't play enough. So I tend to get motion sickness when I used to not, because I played
Yeah.
more. So I'll have to work on that. But
And we talked
as-
about too switching over to teleportation instead of smooth movement
yeah,
and
because
snap
I mean,
turning
some
instead of
games seem
smooth
to work
turning.
better than others for me, in
It's
my
the
experience.
speed. It's the speed at which you move is what I have learned.
Yeah.
And you have to find that sweet spot. So some games move you a little too fast and some move a little too slow, which gives you that like uncanny valley. Like I would be moving faster than this because your body
Yeah.
knows how fast you typically move, right? Your body's like, yeah, this is normally how we move. You're tricking your eyes. Hey, I'm moving when you're not. So if you're moving at kind of an off speed, it also
Yeah.
contributes to it, is what I've found. This is anecdotal. This is not like there's no science. I've
Yeah.
not done any research.
Well, that's like me with playing the kayak game. Like you're
Yeah.
sitting in a kayak and it's just ease and soothing, and my brain doesn't need to be tricked because I'm sitting and I'm in that environment and it just works. And I can do that all day. But
Right.
obviously when you're in a moment where you're supposed to be walking, yeah, you got to find that balance. And I have to adjust this game to account that better.
Yeah.
But this game brings it a little more, which, like I said, we'll get into the story mode now, where we did co-op, and it
Yeah.
starts you off with like a little tutorial area, which was fun because we're both in the same room. We're both giving each other the thumbs up, thumbs down, we're throwing stuff at each other. And you're having that fun that, a VR type interaction I feel should be. But then you have the story going on, you meet the dog that you see in the trailer. One of the coolest parts I liked was, as you're progressing, there was a point where we needed to get over from one side to another, and we had to actually like grab a pipe and climb
And
across.
slide. Yeah.
And like I was looking down and I'm like, oh shit. Like I was definitely like feeling it. And that's a cool immersive moment that you don't
Yeah.
see too much, because I feel like VR has become the world of shooters and zombie shooters. So it's hard for a game like Arizona Sunshine to stick out,
Yeah.
because it's like, what are you doing different than everybody else? I think the story is a big component, because the first game had a story as well. I liked the level design. I never got to finish the first, but I played it on my Quest 2 and I loved
Yeah.
it. And that's why I was really excited for this one. But yeah, like having the ladders and then having the pipes.
Yes.
And as you progress, there's other, environmental situations that you find yourself in, like the train. And, I think it just works, and it kind of puts you in those moments of, oh shit,
Yeah.
and like you really, sometimes you feel like you're forgetting that you're in a game, in a sense, because
Yes.
and that's what I love about a VR game that really immerses you. You
Yeah.
kind of, you can separate that self and not feel like you're playing an arcade game or something like that.
Yep. So that's the big difference. One of the other big ones that we put some serious hours into together was After the Fall. And
Yes.
After the Fall was a lot of fun, but you never fell into it like that. It really wasn't quite as immersive. Whereas Arizona Sunshine, you kind of forget. You're in the middle of playing, and it's like, okay, I'm here. This is me. This is my character. Not, the more arcadey feel that After the Fall brings. And I would say the Horde mode still has that kind of arcadey feel here, but the
Yes.
story mode is what kind of eliminates it. It really draws you in. It's a lot like Half-Life Alyx, which is, in my opinion, the gold standard for VR games of any kind, shooters or non-shooters, but specifically shooters. Alyx is the absolute pinnacle, the cream of the crop. So anything that calls back to Alyx for me, that's a good fucking game.
Awesome. So I will say, with this particular game, with the progression and stuff like that, I think having the dialogue is obviously a helpful
Oh yeah.
Pivoting point to differentiate as well, because I know a lot of games have like the little bits of stories. Yeah, like the zombie land game has some narrative stuff in there, but it's really, again,
Haven't played
goes
that
back
one.
to being, yeah, it was a launch title for PSVR 2, and I think it's been on other stuff. It was fine, but it's like, again, it goes back to that arcadey feel. And like, this doesn't not have an arcadey feel, because it's definitely, it's goofy, it's weird, and but again, it drives you into a world that you want to continue, to progress, to see what happens with the story and stuff like that. I think the big difference here too is the PSVR 2 in comparison to the other headsets that I've used, helps elevate, the resolution being a lot clearer and crisper. The haptic aspects that
Yeah.
come from Sony's side of it, I think
Oh yeah,
elevates
man.
that as well. That's a
Each gun
big
feels
difference.
different. Every
Yes.
reload feels different. The shooting feels different. They did a really good job with the haptics.
So that's something that I wanted to make sure that we talked about, because even though, again, it's something that everybody's doing, how do you stand out?
There,
You know,
yeah, there are layers to that though. Like shit, even the zombies. Where if a zombie hits you, like if one catches up and hits you either from the front or the side, the haptics in the headset tell you where they are. Like if you're getting hit from like your back left,
you're
that's
gonna
where the
feel it in that
haptics are
corner.
going. If you're getting hit from the front right, that's where the haptics are going. So I mean, it takes that, it gives you that little extra level. So like if I get hit back here, I know I'm drawing and turning that direction. I know where to go. I know where to go shoot, as opposed to if you don't have that and you're just taking damage, or you just get a sound effect, or if the whole thing rattled, like, yeah, that's cool. You still get the haptics, but it's not as precise. And it's
Right.
just one more level of immersion, in my opinion, that Arizona Sunshine offers that other games do not.
Have to agree. So outside of that, another great thing about it is, yes, it's VR. So you do have to have a virtual reality platform. It is available for multiple platforms. Our review is coming from the PlayStation VR 2
Correct. I played the
review
first
codes
one
that we
on
were
the
given.
Vive, on the original Vive, I think, or maybe
Okay.
the Index. I don't remember. I had them both, one after the other. So at some
Okay.
point in there, I'm still pretty convinced it was the original Vive, because I think I had the stupid wand controllers.
Yeah, the bigger ones
Yeah,
before they
not
went
the
into the
knuckles.
circle design that everybody does. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, the Index wasn't so much the circle, but it was more knuckles. But either way,
Right.
I mean, same concept, same idea. But yeah, so one of those two, I'm pretty sure the original. But anyway, it was a great game. I loved it. So I was really excited to check out the second one. And I feel like they've grown by leaps and bounds with this one, both the story mode and just the interaction, the way the game functions, which, I mean, is to be expected this many years after the original, with so many iterative hardware upgrades. But still, I was really impressed, even with high expectations.
Cool. So let's wrap it up. And where would you score this? Because then we'll talk mine, and then we'll kind of give a roundabout. I think, to see where we land as a full-on review score.
Yeah, I don't know, because we've kind of bounced back and forth, and I'd be interested to hear feedback from anybody that watches this, on whether or not you would like us, for our reviews, doing formal scores the same way we do for our written content, or we discussed just going the recommend, not recommend route. You know what I mean? So for this one, we'll do both, and we'll see. We would welcome feedback on which you guys would prefer. Like, what do you look for when you're doing a review? Do you want a precise score, or do you feel like the discussion plus a recommendation, or maybe not so much, would suit? So if I'm scoring this, probably, honest to God, I'm gonna give it a 9, because I truly have no complaints. It is, in my opinion, one of the best showings on the PlayStation VR 2 so far. It's going to be tough to beat. It's so much fun as a game and as a VR game, which is a really important line to walk there. So yeah, I think I would give it a 9, and obviously a 9 means I recommend it. I recommend it strongly. 2 thumbs up.
Cool. So funny enough, we're aligned. I was looking at giving it a 9 out of 10 as well. I highly recommend it as well. Again, we can only speak for our experience with the PlayStation VR 2 version, but it is available on the Meta, it's available on Steam VR, and it's available on Pico for anybody that has that. So it's out there. And, I think a lot of people might have gotten Metas for Christmas. So that's
Oh, yeah.
something to keep in mind too. It's a much more cost-effective way of VRing, for people that don't have and want to spend $500 on a console, $500 on a headset. So I definitely think if you have the ability to play it, give it a try. It is worth your time. It's also a great game that you can kind of display to others. Like if you have people over, you want to either
Oh,
show
yeah.
them or even let them play it. It's a lot
Yeah,
of
it's a
fun in
good
that
drop in,
regard too.
drop out. Yeah, you can just
Yeah.
say, hey, hop in here and play some Horde for a few minutes and shoot some zombies.
Yeah. So this tops off our review, our first review of 2024, with many, many, many more to come from
Oh,
not
yeah.
only ourselves, from the rest of our team. Again, thank you to the teams that have sent over the review code for us. We appreciate that very much. And we hope you stay tuned for more from Tyler, myself, and the rest of the team. Tyler, you have anything else for everybody?
No, that's it. Following up our last episode together, I appreciate everybody's patience and everyone that reached out. I appreciate your kind words and all that. We're getting by, still working a fucking lot, so I'm still not around quite so much, but glad that Benny and I were able to connect to get this knocked out.
Awesome. Well, we wish you the best as always. We're here for you. And thank you to everybody for taking a listen and a watch. We appreciate you and we thank you. And if you're enjoying our content, please make sure like and subscribe. Help us spread the word. If you are like-minded people that are pressed for time but are passionate about music, video games, toys, anything out there that might make you a nerd, we're the place to check out a lot of this great content. So we hope to speak to you guys soon. Till next time, take care and have fun.
See you guys.